COPWATCH, policing the police every single day.
The city of Southport is now without a police department. This after a multi-agency investigation found that the police chief and his second in command allegedly broke their oaths to serve the public. Our Andrew James has been digging and has more in studio with the big story at 11.
Amanda Chief Gary Smith and a lieutenant face obstruction of justice charges and failure to perform duties of a law enforcement officer, among others. Now it has left the city scrambling to assure the public they will have police protection. A sense of betrayal filling the room as Southport leaders and Brunswick County District Attorney John David announced the arrest of the city's top cops.
It's like I said, my heart is broken.
Reaction from Mayor Jerry Dove, a longtime friend and colleague of Police Chief Gary Smith. Chief Smith has been charged alongside his number 2 man, Lieutenant Michael Simmons. A 3-month-long investigation by the DA, state and federal bureaus of investigation led to this, all of it sparked by a tip from inside the department.
First, law enforcement officers that came forward to other law enforcement officers and said, who said, I think we have a problem.
David says the chief and Simmons worked with a shipping company while they were also clocked in to serve the city. The DA adding that at many times their investigation found the 2 men would leave the city and even the state conducting their work.
Southport was running as a ghost ship.
A ship that lost its sails Thursday morning when the DA went to city leaders with the news of the pending arrests. I asked Mayor Dove if problems in pay led the men to allegedly break their oaths.
They've had a salary increase within, the past 3 years to bring them up equal to some of the departments around here.
Now the entire department has to suspend operations with every officer on administrative leave. Chief Smith and Simmons suspended with pay.
A lot of these officers have done absolutely nothing wrong.
The Brunswick County Sheriff's Office will now take over policing operations.
We're still going to have police protection or law enforcement protection. The sheriff is going to come down. He's not going to let us down.
The DA's office issuing search warrants to that company, but the district attorney would not tell me how much the men were paid nor the name of the shipping company they were working for. Amanda.
One bad apple. Entire police department suspended, multiple cops charged with conspiracy. Blowing the one bad apple theory out of the water, an entire department in North Carolina has been suspended after the 2 top cops were arrested for conspiracy. By Matt Agarist, July 30, 2018. Southport, North Carolina. All too often those who continuously apologize for crimes committed by police officers are able to justify some of the most egregious instances of outright murder by claiming the officer was a bad apple. Almost as often, however, as TFTP has shown numerous times, the bad apple theory is exactly that, a theory with no evidence to support it. Illustrating the nature of the bad apple theory is the fact that another entire police department in North Carolina was suspended recently after the department's chief and lieutenant were arrested on conspiracy charges. Chief Gary Smith, 46, and Lieutenant Michael Christian Simmons, 48, were both charged with conspiracy to obtain property by false pretenses, willful failure to discharge duties, and obstruction of justice, according to CBS 17. As CBS 17 reports, state investigators said Smith and Simmons were driving overnight shifts for an unnamed local trucking company during the same hours they had claimed on their daily activity reports for the Southport Police Department. David said Smith and Simmons' duties for the trucking company routinely required them to be out of town and even out of the county. Smith was taken into custody Thursday morning and booked into the Brunswick County Detention Center under a $10,000 unsecured bond. He was later released after posting bail. Simmons was taken into custody during Thursday afternoon's news conference announcing the results of the investigation. It is indeed that I get before you today with a heart laden with grief for all these events that happened today, said Mayor Jerry Dove. It was a shock to me to hear all these, being a former chief and knowing the officers that worked in that department and hired at least half of them. For the time being, the Brunswick County Sheriff's Office has moved into cover for the duties of the police department and there are no issues. We will be relying on the Sheriff's Office substantially on the road ahead to step into the void and provide a police presence, District Attorney John David said. The Sheriff's Office already has overlapping jurisdiction with Southport. It's not new that they would be patrolling these streets. They know the lay of the land, and I'm very confident that citizens will be well protected. According to David, at least one of the suspended officers is the reason the others were exposed, as he came forward to shine light on the corruption. Entire police departments getting suspended for rampant corruption is not uncommon. In fact, as TFTP reported last year, the entire drug unit of Troy, New York's police department was placed on administrative leave following reports that the unit entered a home without a warrant. According to the Times-Union, the officers entered a home after they were tipped off by another Capital Region police agency. But then they lied about it. Apparently, they realized they made a major mistake, but then compounded their problems by attempting to cover their tracks. They allegedly filed a false burglary report. More recently, 4 people in the Llano Police Department, including Police Chief Kevin Ratliff, were arrested earlier this year for being bad cops. There are 8 law enforcement officers employed by the Llano Police Department, according to the LPD's website, meaning that half of the police force has been indicted. Do these instances seem like one bad apple, or a potentially much greater problem? Spread the love. Police use who may want to retaliate against him physically.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County, and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.